Hello everyone and welcome to the Yamaha California 500 here at the Auto Club Speedway. With 2 races remaining in the Sundrop Cup Series season, we got a lot of drivers hungry to get some wins, a lot of brand new faces near the front here, as well as 2 championship contenders fighting for everything they can tonight, as well as another 10 chasing them down. With Riley Spurleytube in his second to last race before leaving Texas Star Racing, he rolls off on pole. Alongside him is Zachary DeLello sitting in second position. Matthew Eves, the truck championship contender, driving this number 47. He's in third. Colton Lane in fourth in the 60 car. Kukulon starts fifth, Curtis sixth, Burkhart seventh, Morris eighth, Neal ninth, and Reed 10th. Of course, coming into this race, Brandon Morris sits only 37 points behind the 19 of Kukulon. Colton Lane sits 72 points back from Kukulon. Cody Goforth, 72 as well. Irving Allison, 87 back. Jay Jefferson, 96 back. And Peter Onjak and Zachary DeLello looking for an absolute miracle here as they sit 101 points behind. You can gain 102 points in a race, pretty much. For Peter Onjak and Zachary DeLello to have a shot, they have to win this race with both the 19 and 55, or at least the 19, finishing outside of the top 30. Looking at Jay Jefferson, also pretty much needs Kukulon outside of the top 30. Irving Allison needs him outside of the top 20. Cody Goforth, Colton Lane need to gain just about 10 or 11 spots on Kukulon, and Morris needs to gain as much as he can, or hopefully be within about 7 or 8 spots behind Kukulon to be able to maintain a gap and try to race into the Kansas race. Got a lot of drivers sitting here, though, today. Sure to be a good one. Taking a bit further back through the field, you got Carter Friesen in row 6 with Jay Jefferson. Peter Onjak sits in row 7 with Alex Benyako. Tip Foster, row 8, sits there. You got Cody Goforth in row 9. Alongside him is William Duncan. Carson Bowers sitting at the back. Bowers looking to go on a 2-season-long winless drought so far. He has not had a Cup Series victory and has started all the races. Same with Joseph Strigley, except for one race last season. Rest of the field is ready and getting ready to go racing here at Auto Club. Sure to be an exciting event. Let's go ahead down trackside for the commands to fire the engines here at the Yamaha California 500.
Drivers, start your engines!
With that, the engines are fired. We're rolling off here at the Yamaha California 500. 75 laps ahead of us. 40 of the series best, of the league best in this grid today. A lot of cars looking to put themselves in victory lane. A lot of teams looking to finish this season off pretty well. Got a lot of drivers, though, fighting just to stay within the championship fight of Sebastian Kukulon and Brandon Morris. Brandon sits 37 points back, needs to gain as much as he can on the 19 that he can get today. Anything he can gain will bring that gap back together heading in to Kansas. Colton Lane in the 60. You see the Walmart colors right there. Cody Goforth in the 17. He's in the Cheetos and Gatorade car at the further back. Irving Allison is in the all-black Comcast car with the yellow stripe at the back you see there on the outside lane. As well, Jay Jefferson in the Cobalt Tools car, a couple cars back, right in front of Onjak's bright yellow car there. And Peter Onjak and DeLello. DeLello in the yellow car at front with Pennzoil. The Goof-Off 44 at the back. Those are the guys fighting. They have to finish ahead of the 19 by a significant margin. Lane and Goforth are going to be the closest ones we're watching there. There will be a chance with Irving Allison, but he has to come from the back today to do it. And you got Peter Onjak, Zachary DeLello, Jay Jefferson, who need a miracle. We'll see what miracles will happen tonight out here under the lights at California. One of the best venues on the racetrack. Gets a second date this season. Riley Spurleytube, the California kid, gets to lead the field to the green flag. We are racing here. Green flag is out at Auto Club. Look at that down the back. It is looking like the interstate out here in California. 2, 3, 4 wide. Just a traffic jam ahead as DeLello. He led this opening lap down the backstretch. Spurleytube sent it almost into DeLello, but Riley jumps back to the front. He wants to lead in front of the crowd. The fans cheering for the hometown kid as he's going to lead lap number 1 here at Auto Club. 74 to go. If he can hang on, he's out in front in the Crunch Fitness 28. Into second is Colton Lane. DeLello and him teammates right there for Monster Motorsports, and their other Monster Motorsports teammate, the non-championship contending one, but still wants to get a win this season, DJ Curtis in that 5 car. He's moved his way up to third. Looking at the back, though, Irving Allison going to force it about 4 wide on these guys. He knows he needs to get to the front quick. He needs to go as fast as he can, trying to pick up as many spots as he can. As this race goes on, you see 3 and 4 wide here at the back at Auto Club. Down this front straightaway, a bit spread out up here. There's Jefferson, Reed, and Morris now. Morris getting the shove from Matthew Eves right there as they come down this front straightaway. Up front, they're starting to single file out. Kukulon sends it to the inside of Curtis. But you're going to see right here, look at Colton Lane working that outside line. Auto Club is one of, if not the best track in the NSDCA to see multi-groove racing, to see a bunch of action, to see fantastic finishes, and we've seen a lot of those here at Auto Club in the past. Any line can work, inside, outside, just depends on where your car works the best and where your opponent's does not. You see Spurleytube lost a ton of time on the inside there. He's going to now drop to second, and here comes that 55 of Morris. He's not afraid. 4 wide down the front straightaway. Kukulon at the very top. DeLello and Onjak are in the mix. Curtis is right there. Onjak, Curtis almost getting into each other. Kukulon trying to bounce off the wall, trying to keep it off the wall. Burkhardt up the middle as the 19 and 55 go at it for this position. About 7th or 8th on track. Colton Lane lost a ton of time right there. Onjak's going to bring that 44 up. Peter and DeLello know the only chance they got heading into this race is winning the race with the most laps led bonus. That's what they got to do. They got to get up front. They got to not worry about the 19. The 55 isn't even as big of a threat for those guys at the back. Now, Onjak, everyone would love to gain points on the 55, but Lane and Goforth, they don't have to finish 15 spots ahead to have a shot at the 55 and 19, or just the 55. They just need to be within a close range of that 55. Colton Lane out in front. Lane is one of those guys that can point his way back into the title hunt. You need to be within 51 points. That's how much you can mathematically gain at Kansas if Kukulon was to finish outside the top 30 and you were to go on win the race with the most bonus points. Colton Lane, though, he's trying to do that right now. He's leading this race. 5 laps in. He has DeLello, Onjak, Curtis, Spurleytube right behind. All 4 of these guys, all 5 of these guys really hungry for a win. Remember, Colton Lane is the only driver in the Cup Series championship fight still that got into this without a race victory. The other one being Carter Friesen is too far back. Entered this race 138 points behind. A little spread out, single file up front. We're going to be seeing that a lot as this race starts to, as this field really starts to spread out. We'll see how that will affect the racing as we go. See a big check up there by Onjak's going to let Spurleytube jump to the inside of Curtis. You got Kukulon and Burkhardt right in that as well, as the Monster Motorsports duo is going to have a 2-car tango out in front. Now DeLello looks to the inside. You got Kukulon going 3 wide on Riley Spurleytube. You see Cody Goforth, Jay Jefferson just at the top of your screen right there. They're making their moves back towards the front. DeLello looking for anything he can as Curtis goes 3 wide further back. Lane going to take that spot away. Going to the back of this pack, couple guys slower off the back. But where is Irving Allison? He's made that car up to 26th after starting this race fairly far back in the 36th position, up 10 spots since the drop of the green flag. William Duncan, on the other hand, started this race top 20. He's fallen back as well. There's Matty Porta. Porta is out of the championship fight. Tib Foster as well is eliminated from the championship fight. We saw that in a big crash last week between Foster and Lane. So Lane better be watching himself this race that he does not mess around with any other drivers. That could be bad for his hopes of racing his way in. You see Carter Friesen, Anderson Reed fighting there as well. Some contact. Goforth and Burkhardt make some contact. That's some damage to the front of that 17 car. That could cost Goforth a ton of time as he's going to fall back into this 3-wide battle there. So that BGM 17 in front of the hometown heroes over here. Earlier this season, when his teammate Morris got his first win on the year, that's who won the Spring Auto Club race. Goforth was dominating until the end when his engine expired. That 17 car cost a ton of time. Or at the end, it just blew up, and it cost him a chance at his first win. He had to wait many more weeks. Colton Lane now has been shoved out of the race lead as Kukulon now jumps up to second. Sebi wants to end this championship fight now. He does see that 55 back there in sixth. You got Jefferson back there. All the championship contenders now starting to move their way towards the front. You see 6 of the top 7 being so, with DJ Curtis, the odd man out, in 5th. Rest of them, you got Reed and Goforth freezing just inside the top 15. Foster just inside the top 20. And Irving continuing his charge up. Matty Porta struggling near the back. There you see the rest of the field there. On Jack out in front in that 44. 9 of 75 complete. We'll go ahead, take a very quick commercial break. Bring you guys back to the action here at Auto Club, the Yamaha California 500. Coming back to you right after this. Back live here at Auto Club. Race for the lead is starting to heat up. You got an 8-car breakaway up front with multiple championship contenders. On Jack DeLello, remember they need to win this race. Kukulon would have to finish outside the top 30, though, for that to matter for him. Jefferson in 4th. Morris up to 5th. And you got Curtis, Lane, and Spurleytube. 8 cars under a blanket down this front straightaway going at it. A bit of a gap back to that second group, which contains pretty much the remainder of those chase contenders. And you got Irving Allison in that 16 still working his way up. He and Jefferson, remember at Iowa, those two tangled on the back stretch. Jefferson came up after being frustrated with his car, got into Irving, and there was some major contact there. Took them both out of the race and put them in the position that they are now. Irving Allison has about 15 points on, or 9 points, I should say, on Jay Jefferson. In that gap, but those two still need to have a great day in comparison to the 19. And as you see, as we saw at Atlanta, it was Antoine Smith and Matthew Eves, finishing 1-2 there, with Antoine gaining those 3 points on Eves. Right now, Kukulon and Morris are both inside the top 10, showing that they are the best 2 of this season. Toyota, of course, the dominant force this entire year. And you see Morris, that 55. I don't think he really cares where he finishes in this race, as long as it's ahead of the 19 to get any points he can. And remember, each position in the championship inside the top 15 is 2 points swing, except for the race leader. He gets 3 points over second. As you see Jefferson taking it to the outside of Onjack, side by side coming off the corner. Peter got a bit of a run coming off on that inside, and down the front straightaway, Peter's going to be able to defend, but Jefferson is fighting hard with Peter Onjack up here, knowing he could still have a realistic opportunity of making a battle for the championship. Right up to the back bumper of the 44. Got Onjack scared a little bit, jumps to the inside on that crossover, and now he's down the back straightaway. Side by side, top 5 still under a blanket. 5 championship contenders, and Jefferson's going to try to take that lead, clear Onjack into 3. That he will, and here comes the 55 of Morris right up there. Morris entered this race 37 points back on Kukulon. If you're looking at that for a 1-race gap, 37 points is about from here to around, I'd say, about 20th. So Morris needs to finish up front. That 19, he just needs to hold on. A top 10 even would pretty much guarantee him a nice cushion heading into Kansas. But we'll see. He's 5th right now in that 19 car up with this front battle. Cody Goforth, the damage from that incident with the 99 doesn't seem to be affecting him too much on the front end. You see Jeff Alloway, the rookie sensation, back there in the 91. There's Matthew Eves, started this race in 3rd. He's fallen to 17th. Him and William Duncan, the biggest losers of the day so far. But there's your biggest mover in Irving Allison in the 16, getting roughed up by Diego Yepes there. But Irving started this race 36th. He's up fighting in 22nd as Yepes goes by him, up 14 spots since the drop of the green flag. There you see Duncan started 17th. He's fallen back, but he's starting to pick up a few spots. Irving was not happy after last week with the incident with Jefferson, but both of them know it was just a racing incident, trying to fight for every spot they can. They know it's been an uphill battle during this chase to beat the 19 and 55. Got to fight for every spot you can. Looked like Foster got pretty high down in turn 1 and 2. Going to lose him a couple spots there as well. Cody Goforth trying to catch back up to this 8-car breakaway, now 7-car breakaway, as Riley Spurleytube starting to fall a little bit behind it. But you see that 55 and 19, that's your championship fight right there. Currently sits at a 35-point gap as they run 18 of 75 complete. We'll be seeing some pit stops here soon, though. Auto Club, though, is a very intense track. Great for multi-groove racing, great to get passes done anywhere, but once you get spread out, you can also have a lot of strategy. We saw that in the truck race, I believe the truck race from earlier this season, where we had a major fuel strategy as Kukulon almost into the back of the 55. I think he did get a piece of him and roughed him up, but he almost dumped the 55 into turn 3. So these two are fighting tooth and nail for any spot they can, with the Anjado TSR Dodges in front of them and the Monster Motorsports Chevys right behind them. But as we were saying, we saw some great fuel strategy races here as well. In the truck series, we had a very close run at the end as Onjak 3 wide there. DeLello's checking up. Onjak up the middle. Morris on the outside. And you'll see a nice drag race between the 55 and 19 down the backstretch. Morris will take that spot back away. But the fuel strategy could be a factor. We saw it in the truck race, I believe, earlier this season. Mike Cook was staying out. Tried to stay out and finish the race. He ended up blowing up from the top spot. And we saw it, I believe, 2 years ago as well. The Truck Series at Auto Club with their 50-lap distance, it puts them on a pretty tight window for the fuel window, which makes it a very fun race to the end. You can see some guys trying to upset the rest of the crowd, possibly staying out long under a green flag run. Kukulon Moore is still fighting for that third position. Onjak is not letting Jefferson walk away with this thing. If this was last year, we'd be talking about these two fighting for the championship heading into Kansas. Of course, Onjak lost both of the championship fights to Jefferson last year, and this year it does not seem like Peter will have anything left for the championship contenders. You got them right behind him in third and fourth with the 19 and the 55. Curtis in sixth. Let's give DJ a shout out. During the chase, he's really come alive. Had a pretty poor start to the season, but it seems once the chase hits, that team just starts running good and contending for wins. They did last year when they missed the chase, and they're doing it this year as well. DJ missed the chase, but he's already gained a couple spots in the point standings up to 17th, and as he runs right now, he could pick up a few more spots on Benyako, Hagan, and Neal, who sit ahead of him. There you see Colton Lane jumping to the inside of DJ. Sad to see that DJ and Bowers, both of them, have not been able to score a victory this year after being some of the winningest drivers or the best drivers from the Crown Royal Truck Series era when they drove that as the top series in the NSDCA. But DJ's sitting solidly in sixth, just behind most of the fastest cars in the field, as you've said, as we saw in the truck race. If you have ever had a question on who the best 12 in the NSDCA are, if the chase is not giving you the best drivers in the field, you got 6 of them right here in the top 6. And Cody Goforth, Anderson Reed, Tip Foster also in the top 15. Carter Friesen, Matty Porta, they've been kind of disappointments in the chase so far. They're 10th and 12th. Anderson Reed 11th. So they've been struggling. And there's Irving Allison still. It looks like he's kind of stalled out now. Might have used those tires up. He's fallen all the way to 24th. A bit of a pack at the back, though. There's 7 cars battling. There's Shepherd Racing. They got Charles Sanford. He's another California guy in the field today in that 89. And we're seeing a mass migration down pit road. And there's some contact getting onto pit road, it seemed. Might have been the 12 car. Looks like he might have some damage. And that's a lot of the field coming down. Who stayed out? Kukulon stays out an extra lap. Goforth, Jeff Alloway, Anderson Reed, Tip Foster, Neil Eves, SWJ. That's Daniel Kobza, another California kid. Ryan Butcher, the hometown hero in California, with BGM and himself being from there. And Eric Monaco also came down, but here comes the rest of the field. You see Irving at the very back of that. Jefferson is going to try to get that 48 out first, though, and it looks like he will. There's the 55, not going to lose too much time. Colton Lane as well. And Jefferson leads them back off. There's Onjak with them, Lane and DeLello, so that top 5 is going to stay the same. Hagan jumps up a bit. Spurley Tube a bit slower of a pit stop. Irving might be able to get up somewhere. But you see a mass migration of cars down this long pit road. There you see Sebastian Kukulon. That 19 team's going to go to work on his car. He kind of came in all alone. So we'll see where they end indeed come cycling out. 4 tires and fuel is the name of the game. That's what you're doing here at Auto Club. This track is also big enough where you do not lose a lap for pitting in the green flag cycle. It's very hard to do so. You see Jefferson way ahead of Peter Onjak. And now Kukulon coming back out onto the track. We'll see where he is in consideration to the 48 and 44. There is Jefferson speeding his way through turns 1 and 2, getting himself back up to speed. And it looks like Jay's going to blow past the 19 here and he will take that spot away from the 19, but it looks like Kukulon's going to come out in the second position in that 19 car, so picks up about 2 or 3 spots with that move, as Onjak's going to try to send it around the outside. That 19 car. Lane is now 4th. Morris 5th. DeLello 6th. Cody Goforth up to 7th. Hagan 8th. Jeff Alloway 9th. Anderson Reed moves to 10th. There's Irving Allison. The rest of the field, Spurley Tube, a bit of a slower pit cycle for that 28 team. Looks like also Carter Friesen lost a ton of time. And there's Charles Sanford in the 89. He currently sits last. Jay Jefferson out in front. Onjak 2nd. Kukulon 3rd. 25 of 75 complete. Bring us back to the action here at the Yamaha California 500 right after this. Back live here at the Yamaha California 500 at Auto Club Speedway. We're going to go ahead and go through the field real quick as this field started to string out after green flag pit stops. It's Jay Jefferson, the race leader, defending Cup Series champion, who most likely will not be defending that crown at Kansas. As you see, the guy behind him is, of course, the points leader. Jefferson had a poor start to the chase. Brought it back up, but last week at Iowa, got too aggressive for his own good, got into Irving Allison, pushed him up the track, they made contact, took both of those cars out of the race, out of the championship fight. Though, it's nothing that bad. He is a Cup and Truck Series champion, putting him in the list of royalty, really, in the NSDCA of 2-time champions, including Carson Bowers being the only other driver to have 2 championships. Of such a rare air for the 48 team. Heartbreaking he won't be able to defend his title next year, but he will be, as it stands, the only driver who has won a championship in multiple series in one season. That is what he can put his hat on. He is leading this race, though, trying to put himself back into victory lane. Of course, Jay, 2 wins this season, was finally able to break back through earlier this chase. Sebastian Kukulon in 2nd has had an absolute dominant season. It wasn't mentioned on the broadcast last week, but Kukulon does break the record for most wins in a season, though it is not hard to see when you've seen how fast the Toyotas are, how fast SBR's 19 has been, as well it's more races than Colton Lane, who previously had the record with Jay Jefferson at 14 and 20 races apiece when they did it in the Mountain Dew Custom Series and Crown Royal Truck Series. That's not to say Kukulon isn't one of the fastest guys in the grid. He has been in this position before, fighting for a championship 6 years ago in the Mountain Dew Custom Series. He was almost able to win that title at Atlanta. A pit stop at the end cost him, and it cost him a chance at the championship. It took him 6 years to get to find victory lane, and now he's looking for 1 year later to get a championship. Peter Onjak in 3rd came up just short of being the first 3-peat winner in the NSDCA's history last season, losing both the Truck and Cup Series championships in the same way at the end of the year. But this year he came back with a vengeance. He came back and won the regular season title, though that probably was more of a curse than a help. The 44 team has been struggling all chase long. He's fallen to 7th in points, but he has the most top 10s of the series. He has the highest average finish of everyone, even beating the points leader right now in the 19 of Kukulon. He knows if the chase reset didn't happen, he probably could be fighting for a championship again, just like he did last year in the Truck Series. He would have won that title had there been no chase as well. But no matter what, he knows what he has to do to win. He knows what he has to do to be competitive. And with Menards coming back next season, they're going to be just as fast next year in the Sundrop Cup Series. Brandon Morris in 4th in the 55 is trying everything he can to catch the 19 and make this championship fight interesting. Might not be so. As it stands right now, he's now 41 points out of the points lead heading into Kansas, which is about 28 positions. So as long as Kukulon can finish top 10 in the next 2 races like he's done for most of the season, Morris has nothing he can do. He's doing everything he can. He has a fast car. He knows he can get it done. He's won here before in the daytime earlier this year, hoping that he will get some Auto Club magic tonight here at this racetrack. And Colton Lane in 5th, that Walmart colors, started this race in the 4th position. He's been hanging up front all race long. He sits 3rd in the standings, 0 wins this year. He's been much more of a consistent driver, though he had a bit of a bad spell coming through the summer months and coming into the chase. But he was able to rebuild that up, looking for a top 5 run in the championship. Most likely this year he will not be fighting at Kansas either, but he's happy to say that Monster Motorsports has built a fantastic team, fantastic race car underneath that 60. Cody Goforth almost won this race earlier this year. A blown engine took him out of it, just like it has in most races this year. He also enters this race 72 points back of Colton Lane. He and Lane are in the same boat. They need to run as good as they can, but with the 19 up front, not going to happen. Goforth, though, he finally broke into victory lane after 4 years in the NSDCA here. He had one RBSTS win. That series now defunct. Finally got his National Series National Series race win. North Border Motorsports left him. He left North Border Motorsports at the end of last season, jumped over to BGM, and he's been building a dynasty over in that Toyota camp. Larry Hagan has just taken 7th away from Zachary DeLello. This is a big surprise here. He and Jeff Alloway are the only non-chase contenders inside this top 10 right now. And Larry's been doing very well, though he is leaving TSR at the end of the year. I believe he is going to SBR next season to replace Alex Benyako. This 21 team has been running very well this year. He's 15th in points, still within a fighting chance of getting Carson Bauer's 13th place in the standings. That's what everyone who's not in the chase can still fight for in terms of points. Of course, it's a big money bonus as well as bragging rights, being the best of the rest. Larry has that one win at Pensacola last year, hasn't been able to break in again, but is enjoying himself and enjoying the end of his season here at TSR. Zachary DeLello's fallen to 8th. He was the big surprise, winning his way in to the chase with a win at Chicagoland. He probably would have pointed in as well for finishing 2nd, but wanted to get that victory. It's his first Cup Series win, his only Cup Series win, and only 4 top 5s this season has been a bit of a struggle for DeLello. Whereas the big 3 of Kukulon, Goforth, and Onjak having the most top 5s in 14, 11, and 10 apiece. Far gone from that, but not to say this 57 hasn't shown speed, hasn't shown consistency. And this team was pretty much 11th to 12th all season long. They got into the chase, turned the heat up. He's up in the 8th position in the standings, 8th position in the race. Has to be happy with that run over at Monster Motorsports. And speaking of his teammate, there's Anderson Reed in the 3. Reed was able to get this by winning at Texas World in his rookie season. It was a fantastic drive, but since then it's been really nothing. 11th in the standings, 142 points back, out of the championship fight. He's just looking to finish this season strong, come back next year, driving the number 1 for Monster Motorsports, hoping to match his car number to his finishing position. And Irving Allison just made the move on Alloway for 10th. Irving is the biggest mover, one of the fastest cars on track, but it's definitely going to be too little too late for him. 10 seconds back right now. He would need a caution to have any shot at the top, though he does have a very fast car. He said the car is fantastic. After that pit stop, the field spread out. They made some adjustments, and that car is flying. He said he has a shot to win this race if they could just get him a caution, but with this race gone green for 40 laps, we'll see if that wish will come true. Irving Allison up to 10th, biggest mover of the day, up 26 positions in the first 40 laps. There's Tim Foster in 12th, championship contender till last week. He's been pretty decent this year, has a couple wins on road course, well, has a win on road course, that being Willow Springs. Other than that, he's kind of been flirting with top 10s, top 15s, still having a great season, but only 4 top 5s is disappointing for the 40 driver. He's been beating himself up all season over that, but still having a great day-to-day just outside the top 10. Matty Porta in 17th has been the dunce here in the chase this season. He's 12th in points, has not gotten out of 12th the entire chase run after a crash at Mosport, and that's been his entire chase. He's 33 points behind Anderson Reed, and that's growing because he's about 9 spots behind him as it is. Porta wants this season to end. His move to Monster Motorsports gave him a win at Road America, his first Cup Series win this year, but since then it's not been too good for the guy who just came from Sauber Racing to Monster. There's your pole sitter, Riley Spurley-Tube. He sits 21st. There is Carter Friesen in 25th, the other driver who's been a lame duck during the chase. He snuck into the chase the last 2 years as a wildcard driver, won Atlanta last year. That's his last career win. As well, he was able to point his way in and take a wildcard spot on points this year after Chicagoland. It's been a struggle for Sauber Racing Team to find their footing in the Cup Series. They have 0 wins still, with none from Porta. Well, I think it was none from Porta. He might have had one last year. Either way, Friesen hasn't won a race this season in the Allegiant Airlines 85. He will be moving on next year as Riley Spurley-Tube will take the place of him. But Spurley-Tube's only 2 spots ahead of him, so maybe it'll be much of the same for Sauber Racing Team, as Eves is going to put him in a CFRO sandwich. William Duncan's dropped through the field. Jacob Edson, of course, retiring next race at Kansas. We're going to see him go again for the third time in the NSDCA, but he has no plans on full-time racing next year. He also announced that his team, American Airlines Racing, will not be coming back after they had a pretty decent season, all things considered, in the Mountain Dew Custom Series. Ran about 4 races with Eves and SBR drivers, had some good runs there. But Edson, he and his teammate Alex Benyako, both leaving SBR, both retiring from full-time competition. They're not having too good of days. There you see at the back, there's Eli Bright, Lotus Disparito, and now there's actually Charles Sanford, Ryan Butcher, who I think slowed up Onjak, Kukulon, and Jefferson up front. It's now Peter Onjak, your new race leader, 43-75 in. There's Sanford and Butcher. Butcher actually has some left side damage there. We got a battle heating up for the race lead. That's Onjak and Kukulon. So the 19 is really showing that he is probably one of the best drivers this season, and he's looking to put a 7th victory in if he can win today. He won last week at Iowa, as he's going to take that spot and pull away from Onjak. Back to the top of the charts goes the 19 of Kukulon. And Toyota's looking for yet another win this year. They have 11 combined between Morris and Kukulon alone. You add another 3 from Cody Goforth, who has the 3rd most wins this season. That gives you 14-26. Add 1 from Irving. That's 15 races. And that's what we've seen. 15 of the 24 races run this season have been won by Toyotas. Peter Onjak has not gotten that 44. No, Onjak got 2 wins this season. Scratch that. It was last year in the trucks that he wasn't getting wins. But Onjak is doing very well. He's contending with Kukulon. You see the lappers just ahead. Eli Bright also retiring at the end of this season as well. You got the 01 and 12 fighting. A lot of guys fighting around this track. Coming around to 30 laps to go here at Auto Club. Kukulon and Onjak in the race lead. We're going to go ahead, take one more commercial break, and we'll bring you guys back to the action here at the Yamaha California 500 for a non-stop run to the finish here at California. Back live here at Auto Club, and this is Big Morris with a scheduled pit stop, though he's 30 laps short. That's on lap 30. We have a lot more guys coming in to take their pit stops. Fuel window looked to be only 25, so the 55 could be really screwing himself here. Kukulon's now going to bring it in that 19, so it seems to me, because these guys took to lap 25, they should be coming in on lap 50, but they're all pitting short, so either they know something that I don't, or they're gonna all be screwed. Is the other deciding factor. There's Onjak has actually jumped Jefferson by a country mile there in that 44. He's also going up on the track. I don't know if you want to do that, Peter. That could get you a black flag if you merge too early. There you see the 55 of Morris. He's going to lose a spot to Colton Lane now, so that 55 team has been struggling on pit road. Now he's going to be able to jump back to the outside of Lane here and possibly Jefferson. There's Onjak out in front. And there's the 19. He's going to come off on pit road. Cody Goforth, look at how close he's going to be to the 19. That's going to be fairly close to him as they come on in through turn number 1. There is the 81, and Jefferson should be just behind him, or Onjak should be just behind or in front of him. There's Onjak right there. So Peter is going to take the lead away from Sebastian Kukulon down the backstretch. Looks like Morris is actually going to be third. He's going to be the one right behind the 19. Cody Goforth is 6th. There's Hagen Foster. So what I'm shocked to see here at Auto Club is such a strung out race with such clean racing. We've seen a couple bumps and bruises on this track so far, and Jeff Alloway was able to get a lap lead here. If we can jump back down to Onjak. But what we're seeing at this big track is these guys are giving each other room. They're staying clean. They're staying green. And that's pretty shocking to see. We still have a long way to go. We're still just about 28 to go here at Auto Club. That's still a lot of miles to go at this 2-mile oval. So it's not over yet, and these guys could be 3-4 laps short on fuel. They only ran a 20-lap stint, really, on that time, compared to the 25 that they ran first. So we'll see if this will come down to a bit of a fuel strategy race or what. I'm not even sure if the 55 coming in a lap early from everyone made everyone come in to make sure he didn't undercut him. So that could also be the issue. Jefferson's got past the 55, going to work past the 19, so that 48 is definitely very fast. 19's going to lose a bit of time there. That's going to bring him into the clutches of the 55. And remember, these two, it's basically these two fighting for the championship for any points they can between those two cars. Just noticing on the ticker, Ryan Butcher 5 laps down. Not sure if there was a mechanical issue or what on the 88. But he is out on track, so there must have been an issue. Maybe a spin for the 88. I don't know where that left side damage came from. As you go. Matty Porta picked up a few spots. He's back in the top 15. Irving's trying to stay inside the top 10. There's Hagan getting by Charles Sanford. Goforth and Lane still going at it. And Peter Onjak now starting to run away with this thing. 3 seconds up on Jay Jefferson. 25 to go here at this race. And you know what? While we're here, let's go ahead for an onboard lap with Peter Onjak in our visor cam. We'll go ahead and listen to the sounds, listen to his run as he goes wide open around this Auto Club Speedway. High speeds, very fast, hitting the rev limiter down these long straightaways. And he's gained a couple tenths on Jefferson since then, so the 44 now starting to put down some pretty fast lap times out in front now that he's all alone. A great pit stop by that 44 team got him out in front. Very thankful for that, saying the car is working perfectly on the radio. Very happy to see this. And as we said, he's doing exactly what he needs to make it into the championship fight. It's just not going to happen. The 19 back there in third, the 55 in fourth, but Cody Goforth, Colton Lane now all over the back of Morris. This isn't going to help the 55 out much because he's going to have to really drive at Kansas if he cannot pick up spots on this 19 car. As they go down the front straightaway, here they go. Kukulon down into turn number 1. Goforth now on the inside of the 55. And that's the better thing about motor racing. Your teammates don't have to help you like they do in the stick and ball sports. You see Goforth is going after Morris. He wants those spots. He wants those points because he still could theoretically have a chance. If this 19 was to blow up right now, he could have a chance, him and Lane both, to get a shot at the championship. So there is no give up yet until the checkered flag flies here in the NSDCA. But what I'm seeing is that 55 is starting to fade, and I think the 19 is too. Look at the gap the 48 has put over these guys. I don't think Jefferson, whatever adjustments they made on that car, has made him that much faster than the 19 and 55, but these two are losing a ton of time now to the closest guys behind him. And Goforth is still going after Morris, so these two got to figure it out quick, or else that 19 will pull away, and it'll be hard for the 17 and 60 to put some points behind him as well. Looking further back, Reed, Foster, they're working around Charles Sanford there in the 89. You got the 16 of Irving Allison with Burkhart back there. Heartbreaking for Burkhart not to be in the chase this year after being the regular season champ of last season, but I guess that's how the curse works. So Peter better watch out for next year. But Foster goes down. Burkhart might go lower. They might take it 4 wide on Charles Sanford here. Brady's looking for it. Foster, whoa! Tibb and Charles almost got it into the wall there. I think Charles is going to get into the wall. And there goes the 89. Some damage to that car. He is 40th on track. Actually 39th because Butcher's a couple laps down from him. But Charles in that 89 just getting seat time for Shepard. They got that Dunkin' Donuts deal. Wanted to live up to the end of that bargain as they're fighting back here. And there you see, man, that 55 is super slow. I don't know what it is that's up with the 55, but he is losing a ton of time. You see Kukulon 3 wide up there with some lap traffic, mixing it up with Eli Bright, Antoine Smith, Lotus Disparito in that mix as they go. And Kukulon's going to move himself up to third, but Morris has now lost a ton of time. He pit a lap or 2 ahead of the rest of the grid well, a lap ahead of most of the grid, 2 laps behind, or 2 laps ahead of the 19. And that's not good for Morris. One, he could be the one running out at the end, which, if this 55 car runs out of fuel, Kukulon wins the title. So Morris, maybe he's trying to conserve fuel in that 55. But I think at this point, it's Kukulon's championship to lose. I think he's got this locked up for SBR. They won the Mountain Dew Custom Series title. They're going to lock up the Cup Series title with a race to go. And even still, Morris is now about 43 points behind. The 19 hasn't finished that bad for a lot of this season. There's a reason the 19 has an average finish of just inside of 11, and the 55 is 14. So we'll see what this will bring. But we're coming down now, 18 to go. And Sebastian Kukulon's looking like he's the one ready to win this championship. I do want to say up front, though, Jay Jefferson's starting to slowly catch up to the 44 car. Now, Onjak had to go through Butcher and Max Anderson, but Jefferson's gained about 4/10 the last 2 laps, starting to put some good laps together, good clean laps together. We'll see if he can catch up to the 44, as Max Anderson's actually going to go after Onjak, trying to get his lap back. I don't know why I'd do that, Max. You're probably not going to outpace that 44 car. You've already fallen 50 seconds behind him, or 40 seconds behind him. Onjak's going to stay ahead. That's going to cost him some time, though. Jefferson's now fighting Ryan Butcher. Butcher's going to get out-dragged by the 48. 2.65 last time, down to 1.87. So Max Anderson going after the 48 really killed Onjak's momentum. That brings him right back up. And you see that 55, he has lost the group of this now, but Cody Goforth is starting to catch up to the 19, so we'll see if Goforth can put a couple of cars between himself and Kukulon here as this race comes to a close. Peter Onjak out in front. He's coming around to 16 laps to go for the Onj 44. And if this race goes green the rest of the way, this could be his to lose. It's been a little bit since we've seen an all-green flag race in the Cup Series. It's been a handful of races at least there. After a chaotic finish at Iowa, a ton of crashes, ton of heartbreak. It's down to these final few races here, and Kukulon is hitting it on full throttle. He's doing so good. Cody Goforth now, though, we're watching this battle because Goforth is going to get real aggressive. Look at Antoine Smith pushing that 17 down the back straightaway. It's his teammate for this week. So he goes to the inside, and there's the battle for that 3rd position. That's 2 points in that championship fight. And don't count out Colton Lane, who's just sitting behind him. Now, there you see Morris in the 6. He's kind of staying together, but they do have lap traffic. And we're looking all the way back here. There is DeLello and Hagan. Now, Morris has 7 seconds on him, though he's losing a ton of time. You saw him down to 4.31 there. And as that group's going to cross the line, they stay about the same. So Morris is losing a ton of time. I think it's on those older tires. And that group behind him is catching, but they still have a long way to go. Kukulon now is near Jay Jefferson. And Jay has reeled in the 44, but now Max Anderson has been a bit stubborn this season. And I think Jay lost a ton of time there. You see that gap's kind of opened back up as Kukulon now reels him in. Colton Lane's going to pick up a spot on Goforth here. Going to definitely use Butcher as a pick down this front straightaway, pushing Goforth up. It's too near the outside wall. And there they go. Goforth's going to jump to the very outside, try to make something happen. Now Morris is right there. Needs to get out of some of these lap traffic. Might be able to pick himself up some spots. But the 19's starting to catch up to the 48. And there you see back there, actually, they're going 3 wide. You got BGM boys. Eli Bright's going for it all. They're pinching the 55 in between 4 guys as Butcher just absolutely slams the door on the 55, holding him up. I don't think Morris is going to be too happy about that. That's his boss for one, but maybe not for long, depending on how this offseason goes for the 55 team. Jefferson's going to take that spot away from Max Anderson of track position as Max goes a lap down. Onjak now mixing it up with Eric Monaco. Gatlin Downey just ahead. Vince Freeze going a lap down now as this 44 car continues to go. He's going to take it 3 wide, try to kill 2 lappers with 1 stone. He knows those guys behind him have fast cars and are catching him pretty quickly as Downey and Freeze almost get together. Onjak takes that spot on track away, and here comes Kukulon now to the outside of Jefferson. That's going to be for 2nd if he can get those points. There goes the 19 right on by. And if you remember at Iowa, Kukulon was the only one that didn't run out of fuel because he had a flat tire at the end. Kukulon also has stayed out longer than everyone on both of these stops by about 2 laps. So what we're looking at is if these guys can only run 20 laps, which I don't know why they would, you can get to about lap 70. Actually, you'd get to less than 70. If you can only run to 25, you'd get to about 70. And then after that, that's the question. But the 55 was the first to pit, so we will have to see if the 55 on Morris, is he the one? If he runs out with 2 to go, I think Kukulon's safe and could win this race and really put it to the rest of the field. Here they come down the front straightaway. Antoine Smith is going to put a nose under Morris. Brandon's not going to be too happy with that one, as Antoine's really fighting. One car is on pit road. That's Ryan Butcher, as Goforth has Morris all over the back of him. He's just hoping. He's a big Jay Jefferson fan today, even though they've been some of the most heated rivals off the track, the 48 and 55. He's a big Jefferson fan right now, trying to get Jefferson ahead of Kukulon to cut that gap down. And Jay's going to get right back to him, right back around him with a big run. Clears Kukulon. Now Morris trying to hang on over Lane, use the lap cars to kind of pick his way through these couple guys. Now he's trying to hang on in that 5th position in that 55. With a couple of chase contenders right there. And we're down to 10 to go. Just under 20 miles to go for some of these guys, and we'll see how that will last. As we said, around this time is probably when we're going to start seeing if people are going to run out or not, coming to the end of this one. The fuel window was 25 to start this race. They've gone green the whole way, as Kukulon is all over the back of Vince Freeze. Getting real close between those two there. And what this is coming down to is, do they have enough fuel to make it to the end of this race? The 55 is the biggest question. He took the risk. I think he knew he wasn't fast enough to keep up with the 19. So he came down. He'd have to make it stretch almost 30 laps on this tank of fuel, which I don't know if he's been saving. That's why that car's been so slow or what. But he's trying to do so. Kukulon now trying to pick his way through some of the lap traffic. And now Onjak has no one between him and Jefferson. He does have clear sailing for a good portion of this front stretch. And there's Jefferson in, so I think definitely we're going to be running out of fuel here. And now the question is, who will have the better pit stop? Will anyone try to make it to the end? Will anyone go for no tires, 2 tires, 4 tires? What will the strategy calls be, as Jefferson is the first one in. The 55 comes in as well, trying the undercut on the 19 of Kukulon, as they're going to be 3 wide heading into the corner with the lappers. And what I want to see is your championship contender, second in points, the 55 team. What are they going to do on this pit stop to decide the end of this race? And it looks like they're going to go for 2 tires there. Jay's going for 2 tires. He's going to bring that back out. Here comes the 55. He's coming back out. 2 tires on that car. And now we're looking at the top of the pit road. And there is Kukulon and Onjak. Both of them are coming in. So we'll see here what the pit strategy is. It doesn't look like Morris is going to lose much then. A top 5 fighting for 6th with Colton Lane most likely. Onjak's hoping to win this race. Cody Goforth has stayed out, as you see the ticker update at the top of your screen there. But we're going to watch this 19 team go to work on that car. 2 tires on that, looking to make it to the end. You don't want a tire blowout. That's probably the bigger thing. You see Onjak coming off of pit road. DeLello's coming in. And Kukulon is now down and away. So I think with that, that is going to put it. There's Onjak right there. There is Jefferson, who is way behind Peter Onjak right now. So there's Onjak. Kukulon's right behind him. There's Jay coming off of the corner right there. And there's Morris way back there. So the 55 is not going to touch the 19. Jefferson is going to be able to be right on the bumper of Onjak. Kukulon still might be in this fight. And Morris is currently in 4th. He's jumped the 60 of Colton Lane. But now, the battle for the end between 2 of the behemoths from last season, Onjak and Jefferson, the Season 1 championship fight coming to yet another race battle. And Jefferson is going after Onjak. He's not waiting for him. Jay right to the inside, and he's going after Onjak. They're going to be side by side. Cody Goforth almost could have taken the race lead there. I think he'll definitely be behind the 19, so he'll be 4th. Morris 5th. We'll see if Goforth has anything for Kukulon back there, but Jefferson now, he just has to hang on for 5 more laps over on Jack. Everyone's taken 2 tires. Everyone should be able to make it to the end of the race, and here we go. 5 to go at Auto Club. It's amazing to see here in the NSDCA. These guys have been fighting for 70 laps, 140 miles, just over 40 minutes of racing action. And these two are still nose to tail after all of it. And that just goes to show how the NSDCA can run, how motorsports is. No matter how long the race is, you can see a battle at the end if you got 2 guys giving it all. And these 2 have been giving it all season. They would love to fight for a championship at Kansas like last year. It's not going to happen with Kukulon in 3rd. Here comes the 55, though, moving around Cody Goforth. So the BGM duo still have something for Kukulon. But up in front, it's on Jack and Jefferson. They're going for this win, going for their 3rd win on the season between the 2 of them. Jay Jefferson, the winningest driver in the NSDCA, took that crown away from Yepes, as it's been over a year for Yepes' last Cup win, 2 years for his last truck win. Jefferson has had a Cup win twice this season and 6 last year. Jefferson, though, is all over the back of the 44. He sends it down the inside. What a move. What a send by Jefferson. But Onjak's not going to give an inch. It's 3 seconds back to Kukulon, who now has Cody Goforth all over the back of him. Onjak jumps back to the inside. 2 cars under a blanket. It is a 1-on-1 for this race win. The draft is definitely going to be key, but you can pull away when you're out in front. What lines will they take? How will they take it? Caution is out. The race is going to be over, and that's going to end it right there as we were getting all excited for it. The yellow flag flies now, and Jay Jefferson is going to take home the victory. Onjak 2nd. Kukulon 3rd, Goforth 4th, and Brandon Morris 5th. That should make that a 41, maybe 42-point swing. I think Kukulon got a lap led. And that is going to make for a very difficult uphill battle for Morris heading into Kansas. Pretty much locking up the title for the 19 of Kukulon. Shade Burkhart Racing should be 2-time champions in the NSDCA, in the Mountain Dew Custom Series and Sundrop Cup Series, taking what Jay Jefferson and TSR did, sweeping 2 of the divisions, and they still have a shot at taking all 3 home at Kansas next week. But it's Jay Jefferson out in front. He's waiting for the pace car to come around. Then Onjak will catch up. But it is Jay Jefferson should be taking home the victory here. We got 2 laps left of pacing. Bring us back to the white flag after we get a quick replay of what happened for a bit of a sullen ending to this Auto Club event. Coming down the front straightaway, taking the white flag here at Auto Club. We'll see how this race goes. It's Jefferson out in front, Onjak 2nd, Kukulon 3rd, Goforth 4th, Morris 5th. Kukulon taking home 3rd will lock everyone except the 55 out of the championship fight. And all Kukulon has to do entering Kansas with a 42-point gap most likely coming out of this race. 51 points, the max you can gain. He needs to finish, I think, 21st or better at Kansas to lock up the championship. But Jay Jefferson, he fought hard. He gained on Onjak. They were going to have a great battle to the end. Curtis and Burkhart made sure that wouldn't happen. Strigley caught up in it. 2 cars out of this one. Butcher 6 laps down at the end. Will not jump either of those with only 3 laps left at the time of the caution. But coming down the back straightaway, Texas Star Racing's Jay Jefferson. He's had a bit of a down year over the past 3 years. This definitely would be his worst season, which is shocking to say for one of the greatest of all time in the NSDCA, but he is going to get the 1-up on Onjak. Looking for his 3rd win on the year. Onjak coming home 2nd. Has to be a bit disappointed in that, but they did all they could Jay Jefferson in this 48 team, he put on a valiant effort today, drove past a lot of guys, was there right at the end, held off on Jack. And as they pace out of turn number 4, he'll come down the front straightaway to collect his checkered flag. A great run today, a great race in all honesty. Kept it very clean till the end, had great action, some strategy involved. And coming across the line, it will be Jay Jefferson taking home his 3rd win of the season. Jay Jefferson, Texas Star Racing, the winners of the Yamaha California 500. As the field crosses the line, that will lock it into a 2-horse race with still a blowout. The 19 team of Sebastian Kukulon trying to hang on. Pretty much can walk away with the championship, but it's still mathematically possible for the 55 to get in there, barring anything going wrong at Kansas. These two have been the class of the field this season. 11 of 26 wins total with them. Toyota, 15 of 25 wins, I should say, for them. Jefferson taking home his 3rd of the season. Fantastic effort by Jay today. Fantastic effort by all these guys. Morris had something for Kukulon there at the end, if only he had enough time. Same with Onjak and Jefferson. I think that would have come down side by side to the finish instead of the dull finish we had here. A couple cars in the wall, but as these guys pace around, we have 1 weekend left for the NSDCA. Mountain Dew Custom Series, Crown Royal Truck Series, Sundrop Cup Series lock up their championships next week at Kansas. The only one of those which is still in question is the Crown Royal Truck Series title hunt between the 48 and the 00. But hey, anything can happen at Kansas. As Season 7 draws to a close, we see the championship fight coming down to 2 of the best all year, and that's just what these systems and these points have wanted to see. It was a great race, 75 laps of action, a lot of strategy, a lot of great battles, top and bottom, grooves working out for a lot of guys. Only a few had a battle at the end, and it ends under caution after a 2-car wreck with the 99 and getting into the 563 piling in. 1 race weekend left, that's at Kansas, and then we move on to Season 8. We hope to see you guys then, but thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time on the NSDCA.